He's the original 007 of Taiwan. And he is very critical of all the pastors. But he's a Christian, he sat there with the wife, and I'm thinking to myself, why are they there? They're usually preaching, they're usually attending the morning session, so I don't know what sin they committed, but they were there that night, listening to me preach for the first time. So after I preached, I went there and I said, Auntie, why are you here? And she said this to me. She said, I heard that you're preaching for the first time, and I just wanted to come here and support you. I just want to let you know you did a good job. Keep up the good job. Amen. For me, the ministry that day was to be that encourager. And that gave me the strength and the passion to keep on trying to be a better preacher. Without that auntie, I don't know, maybe that day I would have just quit. But she was there just to encourage me. A lot of the ministry that we do, we want it to be big. But like I said, a lot of the unseen ministry are so important, and it's actually important for you. About 13 years ago, I went to City Harvest SOT to be trained. And one of the major reasons that I went there was that for the longest time in Taiwan, we hear about discipleship, and I have no idea what discipleship was. So I got to City Harvest, and every single pastor that I see, I ask them, can I be your disciple? And all their answer always was this: let's think about it, let's pray about it, and then that was it. So I was there from February, March, April, May. 4 months passed. And nothing was happening. I was getting very stressed out. So during one night, the pastor was doing the offering message, and he said, give God a good offering. Put on the offering envelope what you need, and God will answer your prayer. So I put in all the money that I had. I wrote on the envelope, I need a breakthrough. Very simple stuff. I put it in. That night I went home, it was Friday night. I went home, I started praying. I was so desperate. I was so depressed. I was crying out to God. I kept on praying until 11:30 at night. 11:30 at night, I just said to God, God, please answer my prayer. And as I did that prayer, my phone rang. Somebody sent me a text message. And I was thinking, my goodness, God answering prayer through a text. And I was thinking, can it be? I opened it, it was from Pastor Yong. And it said, Wayne, would you like to join the hospitality ministry? If you think about it, by going to City Harvest, you would like to learn about praise and worship, because that's what they're known for. You want to learn about children's ministry, because that's what they're known for. You want to learn about the pastoral ministry, because that is what they're known for. Hospitality. What are they known for? Coffee. And I'm thinking, if my elders, my members, they ask me, what did you learn in Singapore? And I say, coffee. I don't know what their reactions might be. But then on the other hand, I prayed to God, said, God, answer me. And He sent me a text. What am I supposed to do? Well, I figured I obeyed the text. So I said, sure, I'll go in hospitality. And going in hospitality, my basic ministry is this. I go in, I would get ice, I get the drinks, I get the cookies, I cut up the fruits, I make the coffee, I make the sandwich, and then by that time, all the pastors would have came in, and then they would tell me to go buy their dinner, buy their lunch, whatever it might be. I buy their food, and then by the time they get finished eating, I wash up the plate. And by the time I get finished washing up the plate, I would go down for service. And at that time, I was 5 Sunday services, 5 worship service. So Friday, Saturday 2, Sunday 2. And I go there Friday from 4 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 1 o'clock in the morning. Saturday I'll go from 1 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Sunday I'll go in at 8 o'clock all the way till 4 o'clock, doing the same thing every single day. And I'll make coffee, I'll give them coffee. And after all the way from May till December, I just make coffee and sandwiches. But the good thing was, all the pastoral staff knew my name. Do you know why? Because that's the only way for them to get a coffee. Yeah, you get it? Hey Wayne, get out coffee? Sure, man. But remember, I wanted to learn about discipleship, right? I didn't understand that discipleship was a lifestyle. I didn't understand that discipleship meant come be with me. I didn't understand that discipleship was come and talk to me. And at that time, after I made the coffee, sometimes they would just say, hey, why don't you just sit down and let's just talk, man. So I talked to the pastors, I talked to the Zacchaeus, and I would sometimes just sit in this little room on the side. And I would listen to Pastor Chang talking to all the other pastors, the cell leaders, the different managers. And I listened and I learned. I learned about discipleship. And it was very interesting. I sat there every single weekend learning. I started learning to be more than a coffee maker. I started to learn to become a disciple maker because I get to watch. And really, Pastor Chang has no time for me at all. You know, he doesn't talk to me. The only thing that we ever talk about is he'll be coming in. So as he comes into the guest room, I'll be there to open the door. As I open the door, he'll see me and he'll say, Wayne! Bruce Wayne! And that was it. And I would say, hi, Pastor. Can you imagine May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December? That's our only conversation. Wayne. Bruce Wayne. You guys understand. In Taiwan, when I say it, they don't understand, you know? They don't know. Batman. You know? Yeah. So, okay, yeah, sorry. Just to make it accurate, he also say, can I have coffee? All right? So we also talk about that. Then it was all the way till December. I mean, SOT was ending. Everything was ending. And one day, it was Saturday, between 2 services, he was having coffee. He was reading the newspaper and he said, Wayne, can I have coffee? And I said, sure, Pastor, I'll get you some coffee. So I got him coffee. And as he sat there, put the newspaper down, he looked at me and he said this, who are you anyways? Why are you here every day? And so I just talked to him. And he said, where are you from? I told him, from Taiwan. Why do you speak English? Because I'm Batman. No. Of course not. No, I just talked to him and he said to me, he said, Wayne, I'm going to Taiwan in a few weeks from now. Would you like me to go preach at your church? And I said, of course, Pastor. Then he said, Wayne, whenever I go to Taiwan, no one comes to pick me up from the airport. Would you be willing to come pick me up? And I said, Pastor, whenever you come to Taiwan, I will be there and I will pick you up. That was 13 years ago. And 13 years ago, all the way till now, every single time when the pastor comes, I'll be at the airport. Every time when he leaves, I'll be there to send him off. It doesn't matter what I am doing now, because that is my ministry and my word is my mom. And you know what? My ministry is not to be a pastor or to be a reverend. My ministry is to be a servant. And that is why I am always there. To serve. To be there. If there's a need, I will meet it. And if whatever I need to do, I will do it. I am never too big to say, you know what, I'm too busy. Because that's my ministry. I am there to serve. People like her are invisible. He is invisible. As they're coming down from the mountain, I can see that people are cheering on for Joshua because he's the great warrior. I can see that people are cheering for Moses, the great intercessor. I can see people recognize Aaron and go, hey, good job, man. The high priest. And then they see her, they're like, who's that? And they don't know who it is. But as her walks home, he is excited because he knows that by serving God in the little things, God will always remember him. A few years down the line, God does remember him. Because when they were building the tabernacle, God said, you know what, my spirit is on Bezalel, the grandson of Hur. And I believe that Bezalel watched as Hur came in that day. Bezalel watched as his grandfather served God, but not asking for a position, but just willing to do something. And as Bezalel watched, he probably said, I want to be just like my grandfather. And so God raised him up, putting the Spirit on him, saying, come, serve me. My friends, I want to tell you something. They did a research. They did a research on why second-generation Christians leave the church. Right? And it's just like Bezalel. People are watching, and watching. So I don't know how many of you have kids, and most of you will have kids one day, and if you want them to stay in church, you better watch out. Because they did the research, and these are the reasons why kids don't stay at church. Alright? Now, what are the reasons? Number one reason they don't stay at church is, number one, during service time, parents decide to go out for family outings. Alright, so for kids, they know, alright, hey, church is not a big deal. Second reason, the parents will always look at their watch during church. So the kids know there's something more important than attending church. Third reason, they talk behind the pastor's back, saying, telling each other how bad the pastor is. Well, of course, the kids will have a bad impression. Fourth reason, they're always changing churches. Right? So they're not planted. Fifth reason, their tithe is lesser than their actual tithe. Alright? So they're not giving 10%. So the kids understand that it's just talk and it's not a lifestyle. Another reason, parents are late coming to church. You see, they're on time for everything else. They're on time to go to the movies. When they go to the movies, they want to make sure they get to see all the trailers All right? They want to be able to see every single thing. But when they come to church, they're late. They come in during the 3 minutes. They come in after the offering. They come in when the pastor is giving the altar call. They're late. Kids see it. They see that the parents don't have a prayer life. They see that the parents are not in ministry. So they realize we can just come here and we take instead of give. Number 9 reason, parents tell the kids, don't stay in church too long. There are other more important things to do. 10th reason, parents are talker, not doer. And so that's a big problem. I was very influenced by my dad. I think you guys can tell my dad. Other than Pastor Kong, it's my dad. When my dad was in college, he studied accounting. There was a little church that he attended next to the college. And that church did not have a pastor. So when they were attending college, him and a few other friends decided that they will carry the pastoral work and the preaching of that church. Every single week, these university students preach in the church. And for my dad's university, it's a bit strange because their classes are on weekends. So a lot of times, the finals will be on Sunday. Most times right now, we will always find an excuse when we tell people, hey, you know what, it's exam time. It's our finals. I really can't come to church. But for my dad, during exam time, on Sunday, he finds it more important to rush to church to preach. So he finishes as fast as he can, and he'll rush out to preach in service. He could have found excuses, but he decided that it is more important to serve God. And that passed on to me. I just believe that for us, we need to be able to do all these little ministries. And this is through a ministry recruiting weekend. The question is, are we willing to join in on something? I have this one last illustration that I want to give you right now. One last illustration, and then we will be done for today. I want to talk to you guys about cakes. And today, I shall bake a cake on stage. Alright? Now, why am I talking about cakes? Because I'm fat, man. I like cakes. Alright. As growing up in America, we all learned about cakes. Why? Because we're Americans. We're supposed to eat cakes. And it's very easy to, baking a cake, there are just steps that you have to do, and when you do it, it gets done. Alright? So first of all, pour in the cake mix. You can put flour with a little baking soda, it's all good. Your first time somebody baking cake on stage, right? Alright? Alright, good stuff, man. Alright, you add in the eggs. You can add the water. And, traditionally you add the oil, but you don't need to add oil. You can actually add, applesauce, did you know that? So that way, less fat. But, we Americans, we don't care about fat, And make sure when you bake the cake, one of the steps that's very vital is you have to oil up the pan. Alright? Because by oiling up the pan, that way it won't get stuck on it. So once you oil the pan, you put every single thing that you got inside this little bowl. And then you just mix it up, man. And I like to use the traditional handheld whisk. It's just that feeling of grabbing onto something and stirring. You actually try to make yourself believe that you're an actual cook when you're just putting stuff together, you know. But all right, so that's, you know, you whisk it together. Just make sure that you get all the lumps out. All right, I'm making a chocolate cake because I like chocolate cake. No other reason. Okay, all right. So you mix it up. Simple stuff. It's not too hard. You know, it's done. Then you pour it into the bowl that you already have to mix, and you put that you oiled up, right? Alright. Okay. You get one of the spatulas to clear it down so that you don't waste anything. And in America, we actually would just give this to the kids so they can lick up the bowl and make it clean. You know, so if you have a dog, you give it to the dog. You have kids, you give it to the kids. Either or, right? And then, of course, as you pop it into the oven, you set the time right. Okay, you set up the time and you set up the temperature. Everything gets done. You pop it in. All right, and then you turn it on. All right. Okay. Now, simple stuff, right? Not too many things to worry about. But as I said, there are steps that you gotta do. And it's just like in ministry, there are steps that you gotta do. So when you bake a cake, if you forget to oil the pan, something happens to the cake. What happens is it gets hard to take it off. And when it gets hard to take off this pan, the cake actually gets deformed. You know, kind of like okunda, you know. And the problem with this is just like in ministry, sometimes we want to skip a few steps. When a pastor tells you, hey, you know what? If you're going to start a ministry, you got to start doing this. And you're thinking, why do I have to do that? I know better than that. I can do this. I can do that. I can be fast. And when you're like that, you realize, hey, something's wrong here, man. You know, you're missing some pieces. It just doesn't look as well. And you find that your ministry is not as perfect as it can be. And then, of course, there are the other ones. They rush a bit. They feel like, why do I have to wait? You know, I want to be a singer, Pastor. The pastor tells you, okay, it's going to take some time, man. You've got to practice. And you're thinking, I don't need to practice. I'm a natural singer. I can do the woo-woos and the rest of the stuff. Why do I have to practice? The pastor tells you, you've got to practice. You're thinking, no, I don't. I am ready now. Use me. Right. The problem is, you look like you're ready, but when you rush it and you're not ready, you're actually salt on the inside, a bit shaky. All right? Can you imagine this type of service? You're like, can you come? I don't know. Can you minister? No, I don't know. Are you coming? I don't know. Hey, your note is off. No. You're shaky, man. Look at that. You look like you're ready on the outside, but you look on the inside. You're shaky. I mean, do you know Christians like that? They look like they're good, but they're shaky. Hey man, it's church building fun time. I don't know. Hey, Chrome Heart, man, we're gonna line up and we're gonna come to church. I don't know. you want to go to ground flooding? No. Can you come early? No. But I thought you want to be in ministry. Yeah. So why are you all shaky, man? I don't know. Get it? All right. Then, of course, when you're in church for a while, they're the other ones. They've been in it for so long. They've been in it for so long. They're burnt. High heat, high intensity. And, you know, leaders, we gotta sometimes know how to treat our members. Because by being in it for so long, sometimes they have lost that sensitivity and they are hard. They're not hard. So this type of Christian, they have lost that tenderness, that first love. They have lost the wow inside their ministry. You know, what is the wow? The wow is when you walk in this church, you look at all the lights, you look at the big screen, you look at the camera, you look at all the people serving, you look at the singers, you look at everything, and your first mentality is, yeah, it's supposed to be like that. No, it's not. It's not supposed to be like that. None of this is supposed to be like this. So you walk in, you're supposed to go, wow, man. I mean, every single time you walk in here, you're supposed to go, wow. Man, I can't believe it. But then, a lot of times, we are hardened. We don't cry. We don't get excited. When Pastor tells you, we're going to hit 15,000 for Chrome Heart. And you're thinking, yeah, we're supposed to. You're supposed to go, wow. And you go, hey, we got 2,000 people who gave their lives to Jesus. And you go, yeah, man, last time was 3,000. You know, what's wrong with you guys? You guys are backsliding. No, we're not, man. It's you. You lost it. When Nehemiah heard about the walls crumbling down in Jerusalem, he wept. For what, man? Why are you crying? It's been 150 years since the walls fell down. Can you imagine? Let me ask you. 150 years ago, where's your family from? Do you guys know? Do any of you know? Some part in China, maybe? Yeah? Yeah, some part in China, right? What part? Do you know? You don't, right? So if I tell you today, hey, guess what? You're home in China. The walls are down. Are you going to start repeating? I can't believe it! I can't believe it! The walls are down, man! No, man, you're not going to be crying. You're like, what the heck does that have to do with me? I'm a Malaysian. I'm not Chinese. I don't care about no wall. Nehemiah could have said that. But he wasn't hard. He was tender. And lastly, as the cake gets done, when you follow the steps, you did the right thing. You follow everything to the dot. All right? The cake is ready. The perfect texture, perfect shape. Everything is done. But sometimes it's not just this. It's not just the cake. In America, we always say, is the icing on top of the cake. Right? You gotta put a little bit more. You know what this is like in ministry? By being a cell leader, great, you're a cell leader. But then, when you start watching the members grow up, that's called icing on the cake. You know, by being an usher, that's great, man. But then, when you realize that you helped somebody out, and you changed their life, that's icing on top of the cake. You know, you did your job, great. But then you realize the songs that you sang today, it really touched their lives. This newcomer that just came to church, because of the song you sang, their lives are changed. That's called icing on top of the cake. And you just put it on. So ministry is not just the cake. You realize there's something a little bit more. You're asking, why are you putting so much icing on the cake? Right? Because I'm American. That's why we're fat. We're supposed to be like this. That's why we're the fattest nation, I mean the greatest nation on earth. Alright? Now, the question is this. Is that it? Actually, no. Because I can't eat a cake this big. I mean, I can, but come on, man. Of course I can. All right. Who wants a piece of cake? All right. Anybody want a piece of cake? Wow, so many hands up. Yeah. Because it's not just about baking the cake, having the cake. It's actually about sharing the cake. You gotta cut it down. You're here again! Oh man, those keyboardists, you are amazing. Okay. And she's single. She doesn't have a boyfriend yet. So if anybody want to date her outside at the recruitment table, please join the band section. So from what you can tell, you should play the guitar because then you'll be right next to her. Okay, so at the end, you got to be able to share the cake. Now, what is sharing the cake? It is then you realize that your ministry will become a blessing to other people. And it's not just you, but you actually start giving it away. You start sharing it with other people. You start giving it out, and people are blessed because of your ministry. Yeah? And so today, as we are about to end, by ending, I want you to start thinking, you know, what is being in a ministry? The Bible says that as the sacrifice is about to be put on the altar, a few things happen. Number one, it gets killed. So that means it does not live a life of its own thing. The second thing, the skin is stripped. So no more face. As Asians, we like to keep our face, but we don't keep our face anymore. Then what happens is we get chopped up. Why are you in little pieces to give away? And then you put on the fire. The fire of the Holy Spirit comes in. You got the passion in you. And when that happens, you become a pleasing aroma to God. So how do you please the Lord? By becoming that pleasing aroma. So how do you become that pleasing aroma? By having fire. On what? On you. What part of you? The little bits and pieces that you have actually put out to give away. And that is our life. That is how it's supposed to be. My friends, I get excited just to think about having the chance to be able to serve God. Just to think about it. To be able to become a blessing to it's good to live our life. It's good to have the blessing of the Lord in our life. But it's even actually better when you start getting in the way. So today, as the service is about to end, the altar call is not for you to rush the stage. The altar call is not for me to lay hands on you. The altar call is not where you hold hands and the power of God comes down and you start shaking, crying, falling on the floor. Nope. The altar call today is this. As we're about to end, when we end, you have to listen to that little voice that is inside of you. So that when you walk outside, you see all the booth that's outside, and you ask God, which ministry can I serve in? And just like me, I never thought making coffee could change my life, but it did. I never thought that making sandwiches, washing dishes, that's going to change my life, but it did. You want a life-changing experience? Today, go sign up. Join in ministry. Serve this house of God. Make it your home. Make it special. And I promise you, 1 year from now, when I come back next year, you're going to be able to tell me my life has changed because I served in ministry. Amen. Why don't we all stand right now? I want you to just close your eyes. Think about it. Maybe you're like that hard cake. You're tough on the outside. You've been in church for so long, you have lost that excitement. Or maybe you're that shaky cake. You're a bit shaky. You need to take your time step by step. Be willing to go through the training. Maybe you're skipping some steps, so that's why your ministry is not as perfect as it can be. I don't know what it is, but I want you to pray today. Pray to God. Just close your eyes. Listen to God. What is God saying to you right now?